I would agree with that entirely because that's exactly you've adapted the small screen of everything from the smartphone to a laptop and turn it into an art installation that you can take anywhere.
Thank you very much.
Now your dad worked on that video. Didn't
Yeah,
he?
my dad did work on it. I was on my dad was in Los Angeles for a little while where I live, and I was on my way over to the space where we were building the machine, and I was like, you guys should come by and see it. You would really love this thing. And then I sort of realized, like, wow, Dad, you'd probably really love this thing. Because my dad was a civil engineer, and it never did, like, a lot of hard engineering, but, was really sort of mechanically minded. And sure enough, he showed up and basically didn't leave for, like, a week or two. He at first, he was like, I can stay and help you out for a couple days. But, and I think he was trying not to step on people's toes. And by the end, I mean, he normally goes to bed at, like, 10 o'clock, and we were shooting till 3 or 4 in the morning, and he didn't miss a second of it. He was in fact, at the very end, the camera pans up, and you see the team that built the machine is up there, and my mom and dad are sitting right in the center.
That's cool. And I'm thinking about SynLabs. They put this on their portfolio?
Oh, yeah. SynLabs apparently has 11 offers for reality TV shows about them right now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that would be a great, Spike TV or who else could do that? Discovery Channel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, they're very smart guys, and I'm sure they will come up with something that's way more interesting than the normal kind of reality TV show. Most reality shows are built around conflict, and so they sort of cast for that. They try to find two people they know are going to hate each other. But there is that small segment of reality shows that's much more about, like, wonder and just, like, I don't know what you'd call Mythbusters, but it's a great show.
It's great, yeah. And yeah, that kind of stuff, it would certainly appeal to the people who watch Mythbusters.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I have said it a lot, but I think nerds are kind of the new rock stars.
Oh, absolutely.
It's definitely, being around these guys is just so much fun because there's so much energy and so much creativity, and it's not...
they're real characters.
They're real characters, and there's none of it is pent up in the sort of... the notions of what is supposed to be cool.
Right.
Part of what sort of has always irked us in the rock world is that there's, like, everybody's pretending to be breaking the rules all the time by following the rules. Everybody, like, everybody asks us, like is so shocked that we're doing something that's not strictly beats and chords and melodies, and that our whole presence isn't exactly like the Velvet Underground or something. And it's just like that type of cool is so... It is so conformist now that, like, it's weird that so much rock and roll is sort of about pretending to rebel in the exact same way. And
we are all individuals together.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the nerds have no problem in that department. The people who worked on this project were so fascinating and so inspiring.
So many times, most conversations were like, "Do you know what you could do? Do you know what you could do?" And then it's like, and they tell you about how you could, like, better feed your cat with, like, this new machine they've thought of, and you're just like, "Wow, I wasn't thinking about that, but that's awesome."
I should do that.
Right.
Yeah. I spend way too much time listening to geek podcasts, so I know the culture you're talking about.
Yeah, it's awesome,
and it is awesome. And it used to be that geeks were the people that were completely shunned, the nerds, completely shunned. Now you're right, they are rock stars, and everybody wants to be like them.
I know, it's wonderful.
It's great.
And I think there's really nerds of all types. Somebody was trying to get me to define nerd the other day, and I'm not sure I did a very good job, but I did come up with at least this. I think it's people who care more about what they're doing than what people think of what they're doing.
Good. I like that.
Because there's tennis nerds, there's food nerds, there's all kinds of nerds. It's not just math and science people. But they they get there quicker because nobody cares about math or science except them.
Yeah, they're passionate obsessives.
Yeah, and there's music nerds. Like there's and getting into a group of people who are passionate about what they do, way above and beyond the sort of image of what they do is it's so refreshing and so it's so exhilarating. It's wonderful.
We have to talk about the fact that this album first came out on EMI, and then there was no more EMI.
Well, there is still an EMI technically.
Technically,
somewhere out there, there's an EMI. I would not be surprised if there weren't tomorrow or the next day or the day after that.
What happened there? Was it just a amicable parting of the ways? Was it?
We are, of course, bound by a non-disparagement clause, so I wouldn't say otherwise, even if it was otherwise. But I can tell you that I'm not lying at all to say it was actually a really amicable split because they judge the world a very different way than we do. You know, all record labels are based on the same fundamental building block, which is record sales.
Right.
You know, and that's sort of, you know, in our opinion, that's kind of like building a phone company based on telegraph sales. It's just like, you know, or a communications company.
Yeah, their metrics for success are completely different than
exactly. Like their metrics for success are not ours. I mean, we sort of hate to have metrics for success. I know it's a little naive, but we'd much rather just worry about the stuff we want to make. But to the extent that you have to be a businessman about all this stuff, the last thing we want to care about is how many people aren't buying records anymore, and whether or not it's because they don't buy our records, they don't buy anyone's records, or because we're too much of a band that appeals to people who get stuff on the internet, or all these sort of different, you know, everyone's sort of trying to figure out these ways around using the old, you know, definitions that like success is record sales. And to us, success as a business isn't record sales, and success artistically isn't specifically limited to the type of like radio single that you know the man, capital T capital M, was pushing in 1995 or 1975, and so we weren't making them as much money as they would like, and we were doing a fine job of promoting ourselves and making our own career run, and so it got to the point where there was just too many little squabbles about this or that, and like, you know, they basically were just like, you know, at some point we're like, can we just go do this ourselves, please? Sort of exasperated, and they were just like, yeah, you know, actually you can, which is rare. I mean, most record companies, if they don't want, you know, I mean, they'd rather just let your record sit in the vaults because who knows? I mean, maybe it'll explode one day, and then they've got $10 billion on their hands, but. You know, so it was kind of them to let us walk with our record because we're doing a lot better with it than they would have, I think.
What are the plans for the rest of the record?
Well, we're in the middle of a 7-week North American tour right now, and then we are in Asia and Europe doing some American festivals all summer long, and we'll be touring North America again in the fall. So it's a lot of touring. We have recorded so far 4 videos? 4.5 videos for this record. Yeah. And we have several more planned, so there'll be lots more videos. And a lot of really interesting sort of collaborations and projects that don't really fall under any obvious title yet. We're doing a bunch of things with Moritz Waldemeier, who's a designer from London. He made us laser guitars that we got to take to Design Miami, part, you know, the design arm of Art Basel and all that. Let's see, we're going to be in Basel this summer in Switzerland, and we're doing a bunch of other collaborations with artists and designers. And so there's a lot of fun stuff happening.
Are the videos that you've shot as ambitious as what we've seen so far, or have you simplified?
No, it's just straight up, you know, kind of performance videos. Most of them are really glamorous, and I'm extremely well lit. There's some big fancy cars in the background.
I'm drenched in all sorts of wet things.
Champagne. I just keep pouring champagne all over town.
Yeah.
And you know, it was because of all the money we have now. I mean, we're obviously, you can tell, we're extremely wealthy people.
Stinking wealthy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I mean, sometimes we're worried people are going to be able to tell when we all arrive in our separate helicopters like we did, but. It got to the point where we really can't count the number of beautiful women that are naked in our videos anymore.
I know, that's a horrible thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You feel bad for the ones you forget.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you have cameras, though. You know. The videos are yes, they're very ambitious, and they're all related. I mean, they're not all a single take, but they all sort of share in the spirit.
That whole new media as art installation thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're all. I guess, you know, to us it sort of feels like there needs to be a new category. People think of music videos so much as an external advertisement made by your record label that when you stop thinking of it that way, there's this whole open space for you to work in, and it could be art installation, it could be anything. I mean, there's sort of like. Anything visual that could work alongside your music, you know, what we traditionally think of as a music video is such a tiny subset of that we're just trying to work in all of the rest of it.
I can't wait. I mean, like I say, you guys are one of the 2 bands that are making the best videos these days in a medium that a lot of people said was dead because the budgets got too big, and they weren't selling records anymore, so a lot of people bailed out of them. And of course, nobody's watching them on big TVs anymore. They're watching them on iPhones.
Yeah.
But you guys and Weezer are the two bands that have figured it out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So love the record. Love the varied sounds of the record. Wish you all the best.
Thanks.
And can't wait to see what else you guys come up with.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.